Keep up the good work, man, and stay flat, okay?
Okay, I'm a flat earther.
Hi. I see that Merl just logged in again, Dave. Is this truth? Merl?
Hello.
Hello.
You got
Did you
me?
figure it out? Sounds like it. I hear an echo. So whoever's got this playing in the back, make sure you pause that. Hopefully this works. If not, Merl, I hope you have Skype pulled up, and we'll bring you in that way. If it doesn't,
Yeah.
we can't. Or
Okay.
spaz out. Welcome back, everybody, to the show. We're going to be doing sort of a flat Earth weekend this weekend. Tomorrow. I'm seeing buffering from the chat.
Oh, because
Oh,
our
no.
resolution, he didn't take it back down. Dave,
Oh yeah, turn the resolution.
take it down,
there.
baby.
Yeah.
Take it down. Go down. Okay, that came out
That'd be why.
different in my head.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. So, phew, we fixed that already. All right. So there's our tech issues. We've already had them for today. All right. YouTube, no fucking up. We're gonna be doing a sort of a kickoff to Flat Earth this weekend. Red's Rhetoric will be returning to debating tomorrow. He's going to be with us tomorrow night, so make sure you check that out. That'll be at 9:30 tomorrow. People are asking in the chat about the points, because you can put Nunbot will give you points for the length of time that you watch the show. And in order to find out your points, you will put exclamation point points. These will be able to be traded in starting next week, because you have to accrue a certain amount of points. You'll be able to redeem those for either a free super chats, merchandise, all kind of stuff. That the list of what you can get will be sent out once somebody has reached the amount of points that you need in order to trade those in. So there's all kind of things that you'll be able to trade those in for. So keep track of your points. Nunbot will keep track of them for you. Anytime you would like to know how many points you have, just in the chat, hit exclamation point and then points, and Nunbot will tell you how many points that you have. Also, based on how many hours you watch, some people will get into what's called a regular category. I believe you need 30 hours for that. Once you do that, you will be able to, once a week, come into the Discord with myself. We'll have like a post-show analysis of what happened that day. So those hours that you accrue, and also you'll be able to trade points for that too. So just keep track of that. So it's a cool thing we're going to try out. And thank you guys for watching, and sort of our way of giving back to you for being loyal non-sequitur viewers.
I have 0 points.
As far
Nunbot sucks. I have 0 points. I watch this all the time, but I don't. I get
Nunbot is smart enough to know that you are a host and you don't need fucking points.
She's biased. She's biased.
Yes. Let's see what else we have. Yes, and then on Sunday, we will be continuing our investigation into the anti-vax movement. A big proponent and somebody that is putting a lot of information out there as far as information on the harm of people who espouse anti-vax is Jeff Holiday. He has quite a few videos on this. Make sure you check them out if you haven't already. He's very good at laying out a case of why vaccines are crucially important. And he will be joining us on Sunday as we continue to look at Larry Cook and the harm that his movement is having across this country. Steve, anything from you, sir?
I don't have anything at the moment, actually. Maybe towards the end. So I'm gonna save it for the end.
Oh,
Let's get right into it. Flat Earth stuff, man. Oh, I will say this though.
Let's do it.
I finally watched the video. I didn't know where you got that that clip from that kid saying that I'm a flat earther. I finally found that video, by the way. Yeah, that was an actual phone call from an 8-year-old. Oh, I was I was kind of mortified, but yeah, I actually
Stay flat, okay?
Call. Stay flat, okay? I'm a flat earther.
Yeah, it's a kid that found out his parents were flat earthers and was asking them questions about it. Yeah, it's a true story. Okay, let's meet our guests this evening. He is a regular here. Actually, they both have been here in the past week. So you're probably familiar with both of them, but we'll introduce them nonetheless in case you are not. Got a super chat. Steven Hitwitz, the Laughing Jester, says, oh, wow, thank you for that super chat. Wow, that's quite a significant super chat. Thank you. Hey, Kyle. Hey, Steve. Great channel. Thank you. Great super chat. Fight the Flat Earth. You can take a second to introduce yourself to everyone.
Hey, guys. I'm Fight the Flat Earth. I kind of do what my name says. I just want to say that I recently did an interview with an ex-Flat Earther, Jose Gonzalez, and I think it's one of the best Flat Earth videos that I've done, and I'd love everyone to go and watch that.
Awesome. And Merl, welcome back. You want to take a second to introduce yourself to everyone?
Yeah, hi everyone. Good day.
Oh, Merl.
Wait, am I facing a Dalek?
You might want to add him on. Hold on, add him on Skype, Merl. Add that name on Skype because that was roboting really bad. So let's see if Dave can pull him in on Skype. And while we do that, we'll find out what's going on this week in Flat Earth from Fight the Flat Earth. Anything exciting or any shocking events that have happened?
Well, we know that all of Globebusters stuff disappeared. Have you seen Bob's video that he put out?
I haven't seen Bob's video. No.
Yeah, he put one video back up on the Globebusters channel explaining what had happened, that they'd had false copyright files against them from Michael J. Thompson TV, MJT TV or something, about the Globebusters logo being similar to Ghostbusters. So they had to take down all their stuff, and they'd only left up mirrored things, which then forced YouTube into demonetizing them for only using third-party content. So they took everything off their channel and apparently contacted the legal team that deal with the Ghostbusters trademark and confirmed that they're not in breach of anything. But there's only one video up on the channel at the moment, which is him explaining that and then talking about his argument with Nathan Oakley and why the Aether is real.
That was interesting. His argument with Nathan Oakley. Nathan, poor Mr. Oakley. He sounded so heartbroken towards the end. I mean, he was just he sounded so defeated.
It kind of gets me thinking that because someone was saying to me that Anthony Riley, which is obviously one of Nathan Oakley's close friends and part of the Flat Earth debate team, is also the spokesperson for FE Corps. So if Nathan Oakley's had such a public falling out with them, and Bob even said that he's removed Nathan Oakley from FE Corps, how is that going to affect the relationship with Anthony Riley and FE Corps?
What's their main point of contention? Just ether theory?
No, well, Nathan Oakley denies that anything is an experiment, and they had a big argument about Bob's gyroscope.
Okay, so it's over the gyroscope, it's over the level experiment.
Well, it's more over Nathan's definition of what science is and how much he will hold to that.
It was sad.
Yeah,
I mean, I was just sitting there.
Fallout.
Yeah. Merl, I see that you've logged back into vMix. We need you on Skype, buddy.
Does it work now?
Can't hear you.
Yes.
Now it does.
Yeah.
Okay. It should be okay now, I reckon.
Yeah.
Hopefully it won't.
Now
work.
introduce yourself.
Okay. Yeah, I'm on Chrome. I think the problem was Firefox.
Okay,
I'm pretty good with the technology, so I don't know. It's weird for me to be. Anyway, yeah. Hi everyone. It's Merl. I'm here just to discuss this and do my best to flesh this out a little bit. So I'm all for it, and yeah, let's do this.
Okay. Well, why don't you give us your evidence for why you think the Earth is flat?
Well, when the question first came to my attention, I was probably like most of you and most involved in this, like, don't be ridiculous. Why would people be questioning the shape of the Earth? And I guess where it started for me was with the images. And I used to have a poster. Just let me like back up just like 1 minute and then we'll hit it. Like I did and spent most of my life thinking I was on planet Earth, you know, like in the universe, like just like your backgrounds big space fan. You know, Blade Runner's one of my favorite films. So, you know, I'm a big science fiction fan as well. You know, I'm a Bachelor of Multimedia film graduate. I'm deep in this. So to come to it at 39, I'm 42 now. This was a big deal. And when I started looking at it, I was like, well, what's with these images? Like, are they real? Are they not real? And because I've got like a visual eye, I've got serious questions with the image. I mean, that's where it started, you know? So I think that's where it starts for a lot of people. Like, you know, before you get to the deeper sort of aspects of this, for a lot of people, like even on the images alone, it's like, well, they don't match up. There's different, you know, countries. So like there's one of America, like where America's massive. There's another one where it's small. I mean, I don't know. It does raise some questions. That's sort of where it can start. And that's not a conspiracy. That's just looking at the images that are on the internet. You know?
You have examples of these images that you maybe can link us to so that we can take a look at them?
Yeah, sure.
I'll let Fight the Flat Earth respond to that, and then you just send us the links to those, and we'll pull them up, and that way we can all look at them together.
Okay. Well, in regards to the like the size of the countries and different images, that's easily explained when you just talk about the distances away from the Earth that the photos were taken. I mean, there's plenty of videos out there showing how if you take a photo up close to a globe, zoomed all the way out, and then take a photo away from the globe, zoomed all the way in, you can have the globes look in the same angular size, but the countries will appear massively different, because if you're further away, you can see more of it. So that easily explains that one observation that you have a problem with.
It's not one observation. Like when you look closely at every image on the internet of Earth, it doesn't look real.
Well, of course, not all of them are going to look real, because not all of the photos display images that our eyes can see. Like the Discover satellite and Himawari, they both see like you know, infrared, ultraviolet, and can display a lot more things than our eyes can actually see.
It looks like cartoons.
Some are composites, not all, but some are composites, and I suppose you could say that's CGI, but it's, you know, just putting things together.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I mean. Like, because I never questioned it. It was just sort of like, okay, I just took it for granted that that's what was going on, but it seriously looks like a cartoon.
Let's do this. But as you send us those, okay, Dave, in the side chat, Merl's link the images if you'll pull those up. So we'll pull those up and look at these. But as far as once we get off of this, let's try to go into something that is not so subjective as it looks fake to me. You know, I think we need to dive into something that is more tangible, something more rooted in like evidence or fact, because anybody can say this looks fake to me or this looks real to me, and then there's no way to distinguish.
But don't you guys think that's a little bit of an issue?
No.
What,
to me they don't. To me they don't look fake.
People don't think I exist.
No, because I understand that the images aren't always supposed to look the way that we would see them with the naked eye. And, you know, different cameras are going to have different ways of seeing. There's going to be different weather conditions that make the Earth look different seasons when different photographs are taken. You know, the Earth's going to look different from different sources and different ways of imaging the Earth. So, I mean, when you look into every single image, you find an image that you think, oh, it looks a bit too green. But if you look into it, that's because they've maybe done something to show particular green bits and made contrast on the image. But there's never anything that isn't explainable. And more importantly, there's never any deception. They're never going to say, oh, this is 100% real when it's a composite or something. They'll always let you know if it's a composite or something.
I mean, you guys
Merl,
do
which one of these
understand
pictures?
I mean, you guys do understand I do have like a background in visual imagery, yeah?
No.
Yeah, that's why I'm a bit confused about this question, to be honest. Because surely you understand different imaging devices
say
will
if
give you
it's like,
different images.
say if I had a degree in physics, right? That would give me grounds to stand on when it comes to, you know, deep physics questions. On visual imagery alone, I am qualified and have a sharp eye for this, and I'm letting everybody listening here, those images are not real.
Which one in particular are you talking about, Merl?
Yeah,
let's find an image. Well, not not all of them are real.
Pick
we
one.
can put it in the
Find
ELA
me a real
analyzer.
image of the Earth.
Hold on, Merle. You understand that, like, looking at these images, right? See the one that's got the cutout away? Obviously, that's an artist rendering of what the inside of the Earth looks like. So obviously, that's not real. You need to be looking at images that the agencies like NASA and them put out that have been there. Because we're looking at this straight away. Obviously, some of these are computer generated images, drawings.
Which one's the real one? But which one's the real one?
You tell us.
Well, I can
what you think is not real.
The one on the second row, second row, fifth one over. Second row, fifth one over.
Yeah, that's the 1972 blue marble, right?
Yeah, and I've actually done an ELA analysis on that.
From the left is a real image from the moon. I'm pretty sure the orangey one above that and to the right is a real image from a particular imaging sensor. You know, again, it's not going to look the same as if we were looking at it, but they maybe have done something or taken images at a particular wavelength to show those particular things. But yeah, that's definitely a real image.
I mean, that's fair enough, and I can see what you're saying, but you can understand how some people that just don't have anything to hide, nothing to lose, you can see why this raises questions. That's not really like a conspiracy. That's not a tinfoil hat thing. This is just rational people looking closer at what they've been told their whole lives and putting it under close scrutiny. It doesn't hold up to it in any way, shape, or form.
One at a time. Listen, one at a time. Merle, finish what you were saying. Then we'll go to fight the flat Earth.
I feel like the problem is that you don't look far enough. You know, you look as far as, well, that looks fake, so I'm going to ask questions, but look into the actual image and the reason why it looks like that. It always makes sense that there is nothing that's being hidden or deceived.
Well, again, I've looked very closely into this, as have many people, and we're confident that they're not real. So that's all there is to it.
Can you give me an example of one image that isn't, that that you definitely know isn't real, that we say is real?
Well, I was on a hangout today with Haunted House. I don't know if any of you guys know who that is. He's an American guy. We got NASA on the phone, and he was asking about hot air balloons, and he pretended to be a physics teacher. And it was very interesting what unfolded. They were saying that you could get a balloon up to 180,000 feet. But then he started talking about what is it? Geosyncratic orbit or something?
Geosynchronous.
Yeah.
Like the Himawari 8.
Yeah. And he was talking about going like 200 miles vertically into the atmosphere. And for some reason, it started as we sort of were asking questions like, well, why can't we get an image of the North Pole? Because the kids want to see where Santa lives. He said something like, well, if Jesus came back, you could simulcast the second coming like in real time. It's just getting strange. Like, we don't know what's going on, and we're just asking questions, and we've got that on tape.
I have no idea what any of that was about. And
how we've got that on tape today.
Somebody from NASA said this about Jesus coming back.
Yeah.
Merl.
Like, I know, and I've got it on. Like, I can send that to you guys after.
Please.
Like, I'm not making
you send us now?
No, this was earlier today.
We could take the time.
I mean, it is unusual when you just start asking questions, the answers you get, and we've documented it all. And that's all we are. We're not like retards. We actually are just a normal people with reasonable questions. That's all we're doing. And like,
So
you know,
how did
I
you
know
get?
you had. Can I just say one last thing? Like,
Sure.
I know we've got our differences, and there's certain people, like I know that Fight the Flat Earth has quite a. There's sort of like Simon Dan, yourself, Fight the Flat Earth, and Conspiracy Cats, and you guys, and we. Well, it's not we. Like I don't have anything, no beef with any of you, but I sort of noticed when, like Fight the Flat Earth, when you went on Dell's, it started kind of well, and you guys were just being reasonable and talking, and you know, it's just when someone gets triggered. I mean, you know how it can go.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like Dell. I've known Dell now for a couple of years, you know, privately as well, and had, you know, he's spoken to my mum, like a lot of things. So, and I've spoken to his family and got to know him as a person, and it's just weird how he gets portrayed, you know, as this angry man. And anyway, that's neither here nor. I'm just sort of doing my best to say that, like, not all flat earthers are these kind of tinfoil hat freaks. We're just a lot of just really everyday people, just like yourselves.
Yeah, we don't think anything. We don't think you're like abnormal. I think you have an abnormal belief, but you as a person, I don't feel that you're
abnormal.
No, they're not.
I really do. I'm not trying to be
honest. Let me ask. Evidence presented over and over and over. Yeah. That's what I find abnormal, is when there's evidence presented over and over and over that's easily verifiable and it's just dismissed, and that's what I find abnormal and, you know, really, really stupid. But the conversation we're having right now, I don't mind having, because you're not shouting and screaming over me, and I don't have to do the same. So, you know, apart from the images that you have an issue with, is there any kind of concrete evidence that you have positive proof for the shape of the Earth being flat?
Not really. It's not like something you could sort of point at necessarily. That, I mean, some people talk about the curvature. So, you know, we've got all these observations that are being made, and I'm sure you all know about the P900 and the P1000, and now the infrared sort of coming online. It's been happening for a while. There's a guy called Jay Tolan. I'm actually quite dynamic with this. You know, I'm on panels regularly discussing this. Tim Osmond's, P Mars, there's some of the people out there too. There's a lot of people who challenge this, and it's, you know, it is being discussed on a daily basis. So I sort of work with things like water. You know, water is a big thing for me, and I have done a demonstration on, like, a practical demonstration on my channel recently, and I've brought it to the Discord community, and they haven't been able to debunk it yet. So we'll just see how it unfolds, because I guess the Nathan Oakley crew. What's that?
What was the practical demonstration you did, if you don't mind me asking?
It's like a fish tank, with, you know, you could put, say, I don't know, 5 liters of water in the fish tank, not just like a, you know, a raindrop or something. And when you measure the base of the fish tank to the water level, like at each 4 points of the fish tank, like each 4 corner, and measure it, there is no deviation in the water line. So it is perfectly level, because water is the measuring tool. So I mean,
Well-
if you have like water in its rested state, there's like ponds and dams and lakes that are at rest. They're definitely level. Like that is a fact. That's not an idea or a
The fish
belief.
tank,
That's a
what was
fact.
the square area of the fish tank?
What's that?
What was the size of the fish tank?
It's just like a standard sort of fish tank, maybe the one I have it's about 50 centimeters, I guess. It's not even that big. It's more what the water does when it's at rest.
Okay, I mean the fish tank
You can
isn't
scale it
gonna-
up. Like say if you go down to the water.
over 17 miles. I did the calculations in a video before. That's like 0.000127 like degrees of the Earth. I mean, a fish tank is infinitely smaller than that. You're looking at something like 0.000000001% of the radius of the Earth. What kind of deviation are you expecting to see there?
I guess the main because it's about objectivity and real science. And
No,
so
no,
you
just
walk,
answer the correct question.
Yeah, I am. I'm
deviation
sort of saying,
the fish
but
tank?
like when you go down to a raindrop, right, which is like a little sphere, you can't scale the raindrop up as say as big as a house. It'll collapse because of the weight and the mass of the water. So this is an issue, and when you have a body of water like liters or tons and gallons, water behaves a different way, and you can measure it. And it just seems like the water is a very telltale thing for a lot of flat earthers, that it finds its level and that's what it does. And that's not a belief, that's a fact.
Yeah, but can you define what level means?
Well, when you measure it, it's horizontal at rest in equilibrium. It's not curving.
Yeah, but what does level, the actual word, mean? What does it mean?
It means equal. That's
Does it mean flat?
It's equal. Not
Does
necessarily.
level mean
It's horizontal.
Right. Well, level means perpendicular to gravity.
No,
it
doesn't. It doesn't.
It does. That's how you define what level is. That's how you have
to do with gravity.
level.
It doesn't.
When it's perpendicular to gravity. That's how you have something.
Well, guys, listen.
Really
you have to go one at a time. All right,
Okay.
one at a time. So, okay, go ahead. Fight Flat Earth.
Yeah, level is perpendicular to gravity. That's how spirit levels work, is because they are perpendicular to gravity. That's what level means. So water is level, you're right, but level is perpendicular to gravity everywhere on the planet. So in a way, you're right that water will find its natural level, but level doesn't mean flat and horizontal. It just means perpendicular to gravity.
Well, a lot of people would dispute that, and I'm one of those people. So, can you prove gravity?
Well, it's been proven. I don't have to prove gravity because gravity's been proven many, many times. Gravity is a mathematical law, and it's a fact. I can prove it.
Can you prove it that it's a fact? Because I can prove that water is level.
Merl, here's gravity.
What's that?
There, I just demonstrated gravity.
Demonstration of gravity. Yeah, it falls to the ground.
Dropping something doesn't prove gravity, guys. Sorry, you have to do better than that.
What do you think it demonstrates? I'm curious.
Why does that thing fall then?
What? Because it falls. What?
Fall.
Whoa, one at a time, everybody. Why does if I let ask you why that falls? Why does it fall?
Because it's heavier than the air around it. And there's nothing to support it.
So it's density, you're saying?
I'm just saying, like, things, if something's heavy and it has a mass and a weight, how can the air support it?
Well, why would the air have to support it? If you're talking about it moving through a less dense medium, the air above it is even less dense. So why would it go down? What's giving the object that you're dropping the actual vector? How does that thing decide that it has to go down through a more dense medium? I mean, because we know there's a pressure gradient, right, from 14.7 psi, which decreases with altitude, which means that if you were to say it's because of density, things wouldn't accelerate as they go down. They would either kind of decelerate because they're getting to more and more dense medium, or they would fall upwards. There has to be something making whatever's dropping, it can't decide to just move on its own. So why is it moving?
But why don't things fall upwards? That's a good point.
Because of gravity.
Well, could there be another explanation than gravity?
And that's a fantastic question, Merl. And if anyone is able to present an alternative to gravity that is mathematically accurate and can help us with not only the same predictions but make better predictions, then I'll believe that gravity isn't real. But at the moment, there is no other explanation for why things fall, other than a downward accelerating force of 9.8 meters per second squared.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, it sort of ends up being a little bit of a stalemate, but I hear you. I don't need to push that point too hard, because I agree. There's if gravity is real, then we definitely have those things on the table that, there's a force that is active and it does pull things to the center of the earth, or pulls things at a certain rate to the ground. And I think a lot of the flat earthers do say things like density and buoyancy, but for me, that's not good enough either. So I'm still open-minded enough to say, okay, until it deserves at least investigation. And that's, even there's some flat earthers I know that even if, say, the earth turned out to be a globe, at least we have looked at this and investigated it, and then there's more security in knowing what we know, because it just seems some doubts have been raised and some people are now suspicious, and there's even people who fully convinced themselves that it's an impossibility. So I'm not on the fence. I'm just seeing that there's lots of different points of view about this, and I think that's why it's on the table, guys. That's really why people are asking questions, because they, we've all been to school, we've all kind of been told the same stuff, and you don't always revisit it as an adult and have another look at it. You just kind of take it on face value.
But why would everyone be lying to you at school about, they wouldn't just have to be lying to you about the shape of the world. They would have to be lying to you about how physics and maths work. That is one of my biggest problems with the whole flat earth conspiracy, is that so many people would have to be in on it, because physics teachers aren't just people that sit down and spout a bunch of equations. They've done experiments with the kids in their class over and over. I mean, like when you're 12 or 13 in schools in Britain, you do experiments like in your physics class to measure, the speed of gravity. And like all these teachers that are doing these experiments that work out and all corroborate with all the other evidence that we have, if it wasn't right, then surely they would be smart enough to figure out that, things weren't slotting into place. But you don't have physics teachers and maths teachers asking these kind of questions, because they understand all of the physics and the maths that explains everything and how it actually applies to our everyday world.
Yeah, no, I actually agree with you there, because I can remember in primary school, I had a good teacher. He's, really good teacher. He was. We all liked him. And we did that experiment with like a bowling ball and a tennis ball from like a staircase, and we dropped it. And, that was the cool thing. Like, we did experiments and we were encouraged to explore the world. Like there was even a thing where we collected like bees and insects, and we had, silkworms. So yeah, it's not like none of my life has been practical as well. It's not like it just all came from textbooks. I've got into the natural world and got amongst it, swung on, swings, climbed trees, swum in rivers and lakes. So I'm with you there. So yeah, I mean, if gravity is the answer, I'm okay with that.
Okay, that's an honest answer, and thank you for that. Right, could you just give me some other points of contention that you have, and we can just discuss them?
Mm-hmm. I've personally never seen anything in orbit. I know that there are people who have, and again, I'm not trying to start anything here. Okay, I just personally don't understand how orbit works, and the thing with like the rocket and velocity and why they don't sort of go vertical. And I know there's a lot of explanations, but for some reason, especially now when we've got like, the SpaceX and how they can launch and then get out into the upper atmosphere and then kind of come back down and land themselves. I mean, isn't anything haven't like, and with Elon Musk with the car in space, like, I don't know. I mean, my dad's a mechanical engineer. He worked for General Motors Holden, and like even he's like, a car in space, like, I don't know. That's what I mean. Like, some of us are just scratching our heads with some of this stuff.
Do you know the
all.
reason why Elon Musk put the Roadster in space?
No.
It wasn't just because he could. He was testing the payload capabilities of the big rocket. They wanted to test, like, actually how, if it could carry a big payload and do what it was designed to do. And Elon Musk just happens to be rich enough and own a bunch of Teslas that was a perfect weight. And yeah, it's a spectacle and it's to get people interested and stuff. But there was actually reasons behind it, more than just putting a car into space.
Mm-hmm.
And from doing that, they've gathered data which is going to help missions, that we're doing at the moment. The problems with like orbital physics and stuff. Is there anything you want to discuss about that? Like, what don't you understand?
Sure. I think
like,
the biggest, yeah.
Sorry, go on.
No, you go.
No, I want to answer your question. You go ahead.
I think for me, again, it's the weight of things. I just don't understand how, and like, please just go with me on this. Like, how do things like that are really quite heavy float?
Right, you
I
mean
just
like
don't
in
understand.
orbit?
Like that to me defies the laws of physics.
Right. Okay. So the thing about an orbit that you have to understand, like if you look at the moon, it is kind of falling towards us. That's what's happening, but it's also moving at a fast enough speed that it misses us when it falls, and because we're a sphere, it just keeps doing that. And there's nothing in space to kind of slow down the moon and take away the energy of that orbit. So it's not defying gravity. It's not defying gravity. It's actually, gravity is pulling the moon towards the Earth, but it's also got a momentum away from the Earth enough that it just keeps missing it. And that's basically how orbits work.
Like, does anyone here know like how heavy the moon is?
I could Google that. I actually had it the other day. 2 secs.
I got it. While you
6 pounds.
it is
It's hollow, obviously.
7.35.
It's hollow, obviously.
7.35 times 10 to this 22nd kilograms. There you go.
Yeah, so pretty heavy, about 1/6 of the moon, of the Earth. Sorry,
that's gravity. It's 81 times. The Earth is 81 times more heavier than the moon. 1/6 of the gravity.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, so what's your question about the weight of the moon?
Well, I guess if you have like, say, the solar system, and you've got these like, we're the third planet from the sun, there seems to be, I mean, I was actually and I still think it's one of the greatest documentaries I've ever seen, Carl Sagan's Cosmos. And there seems to be something about the solar system that all the orbits seem to revolve around, the sun. So the sun is, apparently 93 million miles away, and it's hurtling through the universe, pulling all the planets around it, and they have all their orbits. So there's all this like motion and speed, but since I've been a little boy, the constellations above me haven't changed.
Okay, I can address those. With the relative motions and everything, they're not that big. When you look at how fast our solar system is going, like its orbit around the galaxy, it actually takes millions of years for it to do its orbit of the center of the galaxy. And in the same way, yes, the Earth's moving fast, but it takes a whole year for it to do its orbit around the sun. And the solar system, you can look at it as one gravitational well that is orbiting the center of the galaxy. And as for the constellations, they do change very slightly. I mean, Polaris is moving away arc seconds each year, and I think in 26,000 years, we're going to have a different, North Star. It's very slight. You're probably not going to notice it yourself throughout your lifetime, but we have sensitive enough equipment that we can measure, what the stars are doing and where they're moving.
Mm-hmm. Well, don't you think it's strange though, because I've seen some modeling of this, like, and if the sun's in the center of the solar system, then why does it go in the motion it does around the Earth on a daily basis? It sort of, again, it contradicts itself.
Oh, you mean like the sun's path through the sky?
Yeah, it sort of seems to just revolve around the Earth, like, day after day.
Because the Earth is spinning. So, we're looking at it as we're spinning. It's going, kind of going past us. The same as if you stood in a circle and span around with a light in one direction, it would kind of look like the light was kind of going past you.
Okay, yep. This doesn't seem to match up to me. I mean, that's part of the reason why I got into this, because I mean, for a lot of people that just doesn't work, Craig. You know what I mean?
I mean, I understand how when you look at it from one way, it kind of seems counterintuitive, but when you actually understand kind of the three-dimensional physics that's happening, it does all make sense and match up.
Yeah. Because in this particular, no, you go.
Sorry, have you ever played Universe Sandbox?
No.
Right. Seriously, this isn't a joke. Download Universe Sandbox 2 if you can, and it's literally, you can muck about with orbital physics and stuff, and you can place yourself on certain positions of planets and everything. And I think that's actually a great tool for helping you understand how orbital mechanics and the position of the sun in the sky and everything would work when you're able to interact in an environment like that, and the fact that you can throw things at the Earth at 100 times the speed of light just for fun. But
it's amazing.
Yeah. That's actually something I've been mucking about with, and I'm going to be using to make a few videos to kind of try and help explain orbital mechanics. And yes, it is just a video game, but it's a great way of kind of understanding how things are working out there.
There's a guy that does
play it, his amazing videos on it.
Anton Pedrov. He has a channel, I think it's called What the Math, but he does a lot with that, where he'll take it and show different examples of how things work. It's an awesome program, Universal Sandbox. He really uses it for a lot of cool demonstrations.
Yeah. And like I said, you can do things like throw a black hole through the solar system just to see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that's just a suggestion that, even just have a look at some of the YouTube videos on Universe Sandbox. There's a lot of videos that use it to explain things. And that's just a suggestion for you.
Yeah, sure. I mean, because I'm sort of not. I just want it to be known too that sometimes the flat Earth thing gets portrayed as a cult. That there's like a hive mind, and that you've got people like Nathan Oakley and all these sort of people who have come forward as the flat Earth kind of community, I guess. Yeah. Some of the debates that go over on Nathan's are about pressure. I'm sure you're aware of them.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, with the recent documentary with the Bob Nodell and the 15 degrees and the laser gyroscope and this kind of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I steer clear of stuff like that because I sort of think, well, they're across it, and it doesn't need everybody. I mean, that's it's sort of, if there's 100 people talking about how to make a tomato sandwich, you don't need 101. That's just me. So I'd rather just leave them to it and get on with it, because they're smart people and they'll nut it out eventually. But I think some good things have come from those debates, like with pressure gradients, and I guess the contention was, how can a positive pressure system exist next to a negative pressure system without some kind of separation between the I'm sure the argument and the discussion.
I mean, first thing to say is that you don't really get a negative pressure system. Like the difference between like ground level and space is 14.7 psi. I mean, like your tires got more than that. That's not. It's not a massive amount of pressure, and the reason why you don't need a barrier is because there's a force acting on everything that's pulling it down on the atmosphere, and that is what creates the pressure. I mean, I suppose in that case, you have to go back to the argument of, is gravity a thing that is doing what we say it does? Because gravity explains why we don't need a barrier, to contain the atmosphere on Earth. And the mere fact that we know there's a pressure gradient, we would have to ask the question, well, at what point would that pressure gradient just stop for no reason?
Exactly.
That question alone makes you realize that, okay, if the pressure gradient continues, you're going to go to a point where you're in a near vacuum.
Yep. I think it's the same, like when you go under the sea, that's another way to demonstrate pressure.
Yeah.
And
again, there's a force acting down on the water, pulling it down.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, yeah, there's I mean, have you ever looked into like people getting the bends, you know, if like they come back to the surface too quickly and things like that. Yeah. I mean, isn't your background Yeah. Isn't your background the Navy, Craig?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had issues doing my like pressure training in the submarine escape training tank. I had issues with my inner ear doing that. So yeah, I know there can be problems with rising through like, you know, depths and stuff.
And the pressure, like it's intense, isn't it? Like I've never experienced it like you're describing, but it seems like it would be
immense. The submarine escape training tank, you do like 4 levels. You know, you go in at different points, and the final bit is you go in at the bottom of the tank, and they pressurize the room you're in to equalize it with the pressure at the bottom of the tank. I had a cold and I couldn't clear my ears properly. And so it just, you know, the pain got so excruciating, I kind of blacked out, and then I couldn't complete that part of the training that day. So yeah, you know, things can go really wrong with pressure. I mean, Steve, you would have done that submarine escape training.
No, I didn't, because I didn't go subs because I'm not an idiot. I like to see the sun. No, I didn't have the. We had obviously some training with water, and you have to do certain flotation things of that nature, and you have to go to certain depths. But it wasn't the same thing that you were having to do for sub training. But I do understand benzene and nitrogen coming out of solution in your blood and things of that nature. Clearly,
but is that like a problem for you? Like, why do you bring up the depth and everything?
I sort of feel that there'd be a point if you went deep enough. I can't prove it, but it seems like a submarine, as far as I can tell, is pressurized, and it, you know, and like an airplane as well.
Yeah.
And it has to be because, you know, what if you know, a window gets cracked. I've seen, you know, movies where you could potentially get sucked out as well.
Yeah.
So I just as someone who's, you know, curious about how things work, I just wonder how deep, because it seems when it comes to humans, we have these like physical limitations on us. Yeah. And if you go too deep, it just seems like it's too much for us.
Well, yeah,
like there's a limit to how deep we can go.
Sorry. Most kind of big subs, you know, they do have limits to the depths they can go. But you get someone like James Cameron, who designed a submarine that was literally built to go to the bottom of the Mariana Trench, you know, which is the deepest point in the ocean that we know of.
Challenger Deep.
What was that? Sorry.
Challenger Deep.
Yeah, that's it. So yeah, I mean, it's the subs are designed to deal with the, you know, certain levels of pressure, the same as, you know, an airplane would be designed to deal with what it needs to do when it's higher up in the altitude and a lower pressure.
His window did crack too, by the way.
Yeah, I was going to say that exact same thing. I said, didn't the Challenger one on the outside actually crack because of the pressure?
That's why I would be going up. Yeah, he did. He abandoned early. He was going to stay down there longer, but his window did crack.
Right.
Yeah, because it's an immense pressure down there, and really dark.
Like, have you heard the saying "as above, so below"?
Good movie.
Yeah, I was going to say good movie. Yeah,
actually a Wiccan creed, yes, or witchcraft related. Yeah.
Why'd you bring that up?
I mean, well, like, could you humor like me for this? Because the thing I find interesting about Flat Earth is it puts on the table for me more like, well, what if we're not in the universe, and it's not a planet, you know, on a 23-degree axis, you know, spinning at speed, and like, just if that isn't what's happening, like what is happening then? And so you've got this potential like a plane with, you know, like elevation points like mountains and valleys and rivers and all this sort of stuff, you know, happening on the plane. But when you go down into the water, there seems to be this pressure gradient, and as we've just discussed, but you wonder when then you come out of the water back to the surface, back to equilibrium on, sea level on the ground. Then if we go up vertically, we seem to be now leaving pressure and the pressurized system into a non-pressurized one. And that's where some of us are sort of, we hit like our own mental ceiling, because I don't understand. Some people obviously do, but I don't understand how there's this point where there's no pressure and you're floating. And it just sort of seems to me, I just can't get my head around it, Craig. So that's
try and not think of it
as
floating, because for instance, look at if just for a second assume the ISS is real and it's up there, and there's people in there, like we say, the astronauts in there, they're not just floating around in space. They're actually experiencing about 88% the gravity that we're experiencing now. But the reason why they appear to be floating is, as we discussed earlier, how the ISS is literally falling around the world. They're in free fall, and that's why the astronauts are floating up there. The stuff in space around Earth, it isn't just floating; it's under the gravitational force, of Earth. And that's when you have to understand how orbital mechanics work. And it kind of looks like they're out there floating in space, but they're not. They're moving really, really fast, and basically in free fall.
Yeah, I guess for me, down in the sea and up in the sky, it all seems quite hostile. It's not sort of made for humans.
No,
and
of course
humans
it's not. No.
Sort of seem like, they sort of seem best on the ground. And I just wonder, like, where this all started, that thing of like, okay, well, let's start flying. And it's just interesting. Like, I've looked into history too. And,
don't you think it's amazing that like within like 30 years of the first manned flight, we then decided to go to the moon? That kind of progress. To me, I don't find that suspicious. I find that invigorating and exciting. The reason why we wanted to learn to fly is because we wanted to expand our horizons and be able to do more things. And, that's why cars were invented, so that we could be more efficient than having horse and carriage. And there's nothing suspicious about technology developing. We look at the world and we want to do something. And as humans, we try and figure out how to do it.
Yeah, definitely. No, I agree with it. I love technology. I think technology is great.
Like watching the SpaceX boosters land back down, on a drone ship, I think is an incredible thing. You have a lot of flat earthers who go with the rhetoric of, oh, well, we haven't gone back to the moon in 50 years, so technology hasn't advanced. But yes, technology has advanced, because we can now land reusable rockets on unmanned ships, making spaceflight more economical and maybe eventually one day accessible to everybody. When manned flight was first around, it wasn't for everybody. It was an expensive thing, but as technology progresses, we develop better ways of doing things, and it becomes cheaper and better to do. And I see that the way of spaceflight going at the moment. You've got all these private companies that are working towards figuring out a way to make it easier to go to space. And I don't find that like a conspiracy or anything. I find that exciting and again, invigorating for humanity.
Yeah, it's just a coincidence, but I was at an airport one day, and Richard Branson was at the airport, and he was waiting to get on a private jet with some Australian musicians, like from In Excess and some of the other. There's just a little contingent of them, and when I look at him and his entrepreneurial skills, I mean, I know. I think he sent one of his. I don't know if it was a rocket or a shuttle, but it exploded or something, and I don't know if anyone died, but it was a bit of a setback. But I mean, Craig and everyone here listening, like, I think potential space flight, and if we could travel to other worlds, I mean, definitely. I mean, why wouldn't humans want to pursue that? And there's a scene I've seen from that show, Top Gear, where one of them, got to a certain altitude and he could see the curvature of the Earth. I mean, I think a lot of people, I mean, I think a lot of people would, if they could afford it, they'd love to experience something like that. You know, I know I would. I know many people would. So,
yeah, I mean, I understand how a lot of flat earthers feel like they can't do science because they don't have the funds to go and build their own rockets to go to space and experience it themselves. And in a way, I can see how that might make some people question it, but at the same time, everyone's not lying to you about everything. And question things, but when there's the correct evidence presented, actually accept it.
Yeah.
Let me throw in here real quick. Hold on 1 second, Merl. Here in about 5 minutes, because we've been going about an hour and 15. Here in about 5 minutes, we're gonna open it up for questions. So just kind of keep that in mind as you two are like wrapping up any points that you have or anything like that. We'll open it up for questions and then read super chats and call it an evening. Cool.
Yeah, cool. No worries.
Okay.
What do you think about a lot of the observations that have been done recently that show things that shouldn't be possible on a flat Earth, like Miles Davis's observations and all the observations Rory's doing at the moment, proving that horizon doesn't rise to eye level? I mean, there's a lot of evidences out there at the moment that the Earth definitely isn't flat. And what do you think about those?
I mean, I think I was discussing this with Tim Osman. I think because some of his observations are just as good as anyone's out there, and he's got a really good drone as well. And I've actually come to appreciate his presence because I think he does challenge the flat earthers like yourself. And maybe it's a bit too far to say fight us, because we don't want to fight you. But there's nothing wrong with asking questions and challenging each other.
I agree.
That, and some of the observations are definitely, it makes you scratch your head. It's like, well, what is going on with that? Especially with atmospheric conditions, we've got vanishing points, compression, refraction, miraging, mirroring. There's just so many things going on. But I don't think that was all like nomenclature and common knowledge before people started really looking at this. So again, ultimately, I find that a positive, that people are actually looking at this, not just going, oh yeah, it's the globe, don't worry about it, shut up, sort of thing.
I agree with you that you should question things, absolutely, and that's something I teach my kids very much.
That was all like nomenclature.
Oh, I'm hearing some echo.
You've gone all quiet there, Merl.
Again, ultimately, I don't think it's me.
GE, you
just going, oh yeah, it's the globe, don't worry about it.
We're hearing that's our first caller. Anyway, go ahead.
You there, Merl?
Yeah.
Merl?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah.
You finish saying what
Can you hear me?
Yeah, sorry, it got a bit echoey there. No, I do agree with you that you should ask questions, never accept what you're told. But when there's a conclusion that is very, very evident, don't just dismiss it. Is what I say.
Yeah, I mean, again, the best thing about this is, and it's a shame what happened on Dell's, because I know a lot of us were happy to see you over there. I just didn't. I've reached out to different people along the way, and for whatever reason, when I first sort of went over to be on the imaginary curve, there was an openness to me because people could see I was just willing to learn and I was open-minded, and I can definitely, like, I'm out there. I haven't got my camera on at the moment, but my face is out there. I've laid my cards on the table. But just to bring it back to that point, it was like, yeah, cool. Like, even respect to you for coming, because a lot of people don't.
I tried. I really did try.
You did, and you did. I got to give you credit there where credit's due, because there's other people who'll come in and just disrupt or try to snipe the hangout and shut it down. So,
look at us ending
that's
on
where
a.
some of that.
Sorry. I was going to say, look at us ending on a positive. This is the first flat Earth debate ever that has ended with two people complimenting each other. Steve, what is it about these past 2 days? Last night, and
I don't
tonight?
like it.
What's
like
going on?
Make it stop. Make it stop.
I've got to say, that's actually the most pleasant flat Earth conversation I've had.
We have the flat Earth Q&A guy right here. He disappeared.
That
can cause.
We're going to go to our first question comes from GE. Hello, GE.
What's up, heathens? How y'all doing?
Hey, buddy.
Excellent.
Hey, okay, so Merl, I got a question for you. Well, okay, it's a kind of a two-parter. Okay, so first question, can you please explain how the tides work on a flat Earth?
It's a good question. It's I mean, if it's the moon doing it, is that to say that there's a magnetic pull in the moon that's pulling the water up and pulling the water down as it phases through its cycles?
Well,
I don't know.
Water's
that's
magnetic?
really true.
Is water magnetic?
Water's
magnetic? Did you mean gravitational rather than magnetic there?
Well, I mean, I was told that, the moon is what causes the tides.
Right.
It is a big part of it, but there is more to it than just the moon.
Yeah, I mean, see, this is the thing, is it because some people think there's some kind of electromagnetic force. Have you guys heard about electromagnetism?
He's talking about.
Are you serious right now?
Yeah, no, I think he's talking about
magnetodynamics. I've heard of electromagnetism, Merl. I want to know what you think causes the tides. I don't want to hear what the globe model how the globe model causes the tides. Are you saying that the moon is a giant magnet in the sky and the water is magnetic, and then that's how the moon causes tides and waves?
I don't really know. I don't really know what causes the tides.
Shocking.
Honest answer.
Okay. Well, that's better than the Southern Israelite. He thinks there's a secret ocean underneath the crust of the earth that causes the tide somehow. I don't know. Maybe it's like a mirror thing.
He does. That is true. He does.
Second question I have, since you seem to know Dell so well, is there any way that you could contact him and tell him to lay off the roid use a little bit? I mean, it's really getting kind of old with the whole roid raging out on live streams and shit.
I like the roid rage. I find it entertaining myself.
I would have liked to have had a conversation with him, and I couldn't because he raged out on me the second I started to question what he was saying. I wanted to have a conversation with Dell, but I couldn't. He made it impossible.
Yeah.
Okay, but I want to know, Merl, can you ask that question of Dell for me?
Sure. Why don't you go on and ask it? Why don't you go on and ask him yourself?
He won't talk to us.
Yeah.
Yeah, he won't talk to us.
He'll just roid rage out.
Okay.
Why bother? That's all.
GE, plug what you've got coming up tonight. Right after actually at what time you start? 8:30.
Well, at 8:45 now. At 8:45, okay. I'm doing a live stream where I'm going over this video by this guy named Truth Soldier, who says that there's 5 ways that the globe model is pulling people away from God. So we're going to be looking over that, as well as Today I Learns and all that other kind of shit that I do on my channel. So y'all stop by now. You hear?
I'm going to.
Yeah, make sure you check him. Leave GE. You can leave a link. Leave a link in the live chat too. Before we get to letting you guys wrap up any kind of closing statements you have, Reds has an announcement that he wanted to make. Reds, are you here?
Somehow. Thanks, Steve. This is the first time you've actually used the teleporter properly.
I try. I'm getting better at it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I mean, you cupped and you stroked the teleporter just right.
You know
so
my technique, I'm telling you, my finger motion and my ability to it's getting much better.
There we go.
Oh, by the way, tomorrow, I forgot to say this earlier. We will be debuting Red's T-shirt here on the show, so you check it out. Reds has his own product line coming out, so we will
have a T-shirt.
Yeah, we talked about this the other night. You always do this.
Okay.
Anyway, the ugly plumber from Florida, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, the ugly plumber from Florida. Merl, Ariel, whatever the fuck the name is. Anyway,
Merl.
What do you not understand about rockets? Let me just start there. What do you not understand about rockets? Because rockets are kind of my thing.
What do you mean?
You asked a bunch of questions about rockets earlier, like how they launch, how they stay up there. What do you not understand about them after talking to Fight the Flat Earth?
I don't know who I'm talking to. So what, are you a qualified rocket scientist or something?
I'm a plumber from Florida, good sir. Please answer my question. What do you not know about rockets?
Well, what makes you qualified to know about them?
I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Again, what do you not know about rockets?
Well, what if I know just as much about rockets as you do?
That might be the case. Again, what do you not know about rockets?
Well, it's a vague question. Like, make it more specific.
Okay. When about rockets, what about them do you not understand?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't understand your question. Sorry.
Really? Okay.
Okay. Can I interject real quick?
Sure.
Merl, can you explain how rockets work for us in like your world?
What do you mean, my world? It's your world. We're all in the same world, aren't we?
We're obviously not living in the same reality, Merl. Can you please just tell me, like, how rockets work in your view?
What about rockets confuses you?
Can I just point one thing out? That since I've been here, Steve, and Fight the Flat Earth, it's all been on the level, Kyle, and I appreciate that. But these two have come in, and it's a different kind of approach. So don't mess with my mind. I've been nothing but courteous and respectful of everyone here.
Agree.
Offer me the same courtesy, please.
So have they, though. They have not been disrespectful. But
Reds is here. Reds, you have an announcement. I mean, we need to start wrapping up because I have a ton of super chats to read off anyway. So we need to be kind of winding down on the conversation anyway. Didn't you have something that you wanted to announce, Reds?
Well, yes, I did.
Or something that you wanted to put out there?
Yeah. Besides this, I'll go ahead and just say this and leave. Well, Merl, you were treated with respect, but there is such a thing as intellectual dishonesty. You had a lot of questions about rockets, how they launch.
In space.
You had a lot of questions. You had a lot of questions
well-known
about
troll,
how
troll.
You had a lot of questions
You're an
about how they
troll,
launch.
Red.
You had a lot of questions about.
You guys cannot overtalk each other.
Oh man,
Let's speak. He didn't interrupt you. Don't interrupt
him. We've got to end out sometime. It's going to go forever.
Sorry.
Then
he's got an announcement to make. Merle,
then fucking leave if you're not going to see. You're asking for respect, but yet you're not giving it. And you want
you don't deserve it. You're an internet troll, dude.
Yeah, it says you.
Oh.
So basically, as I was
everybody, calm down. Get to the announcement so that we can.
I'm trying to, but this jackass won't shut the fuck up for half a second.
Merle, I know. Merle, calm down a second. Let him announce what he's got to announce.
Okay,
I'm fine.
So as we're saying, so Merle had a lot of questions about rockets, how they launched, how they worked, what an orbit is. He had all these questions, and then the very moment I show up, he all of a sudden doesn't know how to answer the question or what the question is even pertaining to. That is what we call intellectual dishonesty. So actually, when it comes to showing respect, I show respect to those who actually deserve it. That intellectual dishonesty leads me to say to you that you can go fuck yourself. As far as what my actual announcement is, as far as what my actual announcement is, I did send it over to Kyle not too long ago, but I'll just say it again. Nathan Oakley has been going around the bins as of late saying how I'm scared to debate him, whatever, even though I've challenged him on numerous occasions, and every time I did, he's been tucking his tail and fucking right off at the speed of sound, because I have the audacity to ask for a debate on a neutral platform where he doesn't have access to the mute button. So here's the groundbreaking announcement. After my appearance on the NonSequitur Show tomorrow, I am going to have Kyle post a link in the description. That will be a link to a clock that will consistently count upward. And that will be the time that Nathan Oakley has been refusing to debate me on a neutral platform. It will count the hours, the days, the weeks, and even the years, so that we know that the invitation has always been out there. Every time Nathan Oakley says that I'm scared to debate him or that I refuse to debate him or whatever, now we have a link that will show that it has been such and such time that Nathan Oakley has been confirmed #bitchmade. So please spread the word. Nathan, starting tomorrow, that clock will go live. And we will see just who is actually #bitchmade. Also, I can't wait to see the shirt you guys made for me.
Yeah, it's going to be good. I'll show you.
I would say that I also called out Nathan Oakley, and he responded to me in one of his Flat Earth debates. And basically, his answer was to me and Reds that he's always there if we want to go and speak to him. But what doesn't he understand about neutral platform?
Hang on. Nathan Oakley has actually reached out to me before and said he first of all, when I had him on with that whole, I don't know, it was like a year or two ago, we had that summit right on my channel. He was thrilled with that. He wanted to do it again. So he will go on a neutral channel because I consider my channel to be neutral. And he said he was happy with my moderation. So if you find a neutral channel, I'm happy to moderate that or be a part of that, Reds, wherever he wants to. Because
he won't now, Steve. He hates you and I. So he hates you and I.
Dude, Steve, I'm telling you.
Yes.
I'm telling you how Nathan Oakley works.
I listened last week to a hangout with him where he said that you and I were some of the worst.
Kyle, let me explain.
He hates us.
What he says in public and what he says in private are completely different things. I'm telling you,
still
all he wants is he wants people to like listen to him. That's it.
Good.
But he has this thing that he has to put out. But he has told me, and I'm telling people that he's happy with my moderation. Now, if he wants to change that later, that's fine. But he can't use it as an excuse to Red, right? No, I mean
he doesn't like us.
Yeah, well, like I said.
Let's be honest here. Nathan is just scared because he saw just how badly Jeranism was basically bitch slapped around like it was nothing, and he doesn't want what happened to Jeranism to happen to him.
Right.
Yeah, he doesn't. He's not a fan.
He's going to find any excuse.
Yeah. Go ahead, Merl.
Okay.
Sure.
Reds, I'd be willing to turn my camera on right now. Have you ever turned your camera on?
I don't understand.
We're not doing that.
Hang on. No, Kyle, hang on.
We're not doing that.
Hang on. Hey, I don't understand the question. Can you please repeat?
Yeah, I'm just wondering why you've never turned your camera on and shown
Merl,
your face.
I'll answer why.
Because hang on. No. Hang on.
I had to have surgery.
Oh my God.
I
The stream that never ended.
still don't understand your question, Merl. Could you please rephrase?
What do you do again?
I don't understand the question, man. You gotta say it in clear English for me.
Did you say that you were a plumber?
What was the question again?
You said? So like waltz around.
I don't understand your question.
Trying to intimidate people anyway.
I don't understand your question. What is your question?
And you claim that people like us are intellectually dishonest.
What's your question again?
All right.
That you're intellectually dishonest.
Hang on.
What's your question?
An audacity to talk to people.
Kyle's going to have a
disgusting way.
meltdown. Merl.
I'm not having a meltdown.
By the way,
I'm just like pushing
Merl,
this guy.
Still no question.
To show what a
Hang on.
bitch
Merl,
this
you can
guy
interrupt.
is.
Mute Merl. Unmute him. You can interrupt some people. You don't interrupt Kyle and I. It doesn't happen. Okay.
You're doing so good too.
So you were doing so well until the end, Merl. I mean, you were doing shitty, but you were at least being somewhat polite. But then you just kind of lost it when you tried to like shout me down. Not going to happen. But anyways, I will answer for Red since he won't answer. I know what Red's looked like, and if I had his face, I wouldn't show in public either. Okay, he just trust me on that. And I look like this.
Face does not equal flat Earth. They're not.
No offense
equivalent.
to Red. Just I wouldn't go out in public.
No, it's okay, guys. I understand that my face is the cause of crypt death.
Well, I didn't wear glasses before I saw your face.
Okay. But super chat. Super chats, yes. Okay. I've read Steven's here. Meyer go, brothers go. Thank you, Steven, the laughing jester. I appreciate that. Carlos Pagan says, did this genius say I have visual eyes? Severed head. Oh, that's a name. Severed head. What happened to it? How can you type? You're just a head. Sorry, I can't stay. Love your show. Here is a super chat before I leave. Thank you very much. Mr. Cook Jr., when are you going to do a debate where the flat earther has to defend their claims of lies, conspiracy, and CGI? They are never accountable for them. I think that's what we do every week. Isn't it? Godless Engineer, Merl, can you tell Dale to lay off the roids? Well, you read your own super chat earlier there, G. 0132 this guy doesn't know about Dale's appearance on the show. If he doesn't get why people think he's an angry idiot. Yes, he did have an appearance on this show, and it was quite memorable, to say the least. Steven Steen, shut up, GE. I like entertainment. Give him roids. Bombay, Merle's a Poe. I call shenanigans. Everybody get out your brooms. Caitlin Chloe, F you, Kyle. That's droppity. Indeed, milady. Indeed. Helios 575. I have placed a 1 pound ball on top of a sandcastle. The sand was less dense than the IPB, so why did the ball not drill through the sandcastle? No? Okay. Bombay, Nathan, great documentary on Netflix. Well done. Doing to flat Earth what pedophile priests are doing for Catholicism.
Oh shit.
Wow.
Damn.
Can you read that again? That hurt. I like the pain on that one.
Bombay.
God damn.
Route 66 drones. Merle, Route 66 wants to know what your level of education is, or what your what you do.
I'm a Bachelor of Multimedia and a film graduate. I used to work for the Herald Sun. Rupert Murdoch was my boss. I've done lots of other things since then and before then. There you go.
How is Rupert Murdoch in real life?
What's that?
I've always wanted to know. How is Rupert Murdoch in real life?
Rupert Murdoch is a media mogul, and there's many things going on in the media that are interesting. If any of you worked in the media, which I know some of you do, you'd know that it's a very intense environment, very dynamic. A lot of intelligent people, a lot of people who know how to conduct themselves in public and not speak to people like they're morons.
I feel projection, Merl. We're going to move on before it gets. We're going to move on before it gets. Before it gets any deeper.
We're ending positively. That's all.
We're ending positively, you guys. We're ending positively.
And if he could extend me a little bit of common courtesy, I'd extend him the same.
Merl, I'm trying to end
Merl,
this.
beat a dick.
Reds, all of you.
We were so close. We were going to do it, but nope, can't do it.
Demonic Davros, law of gravitational attraction and relativity. Rocket scientist. Rocket scientist. Merl, they want you to stay at home because you bring the IQ down everywhere you go. Who's your atheist? Does Merl know a qualified flat earther? Do you know a qualified flat earther?
Qualified in what?
It doesn't say.
Wait, what?
It just says qualified.
Just qualified to be a flat earther.
Doesn't even deserve an answer. Doesn't even deserve an answer.
There's a qualification.
I think the question is asking, do you know any flat earthers who have like high level education in physics or anything?
Yeah.
Are there any PhD flat earthers? Are there any?
I've asked. That's like the holy unicorn.
There's one PhD candidate that is doing a.
I mean, what do you guys do besides Craig? I mean, like Reds is a plumber. What does Godless Engineer do?
I just talk shit to.
That's kind of in my name. I engineer shit. I'm a software engineer.
Okay.
Hey, I do have a. Can I insert one quick super chat that Casey personally paid me for?
What?
She would like to know which NASA center you called.
Good question. Merl?
What's that?
Merl.
What
Which
NASA
did you call?
Sorry, you guys are cutting out. I'm listening, but I just can't hear.
Which NASA center? Hold on. Which NASA center did you call?
It was not me who made the phone call. So there's a stream by Haunted House, Haunted House Flat Earth. I can leave a link in the description if you want.
He's in the live chat. Yeah, he's in the live chat actually.
Yeah.
Haunted House. Which center did you call since you're in the live chat? Okay, now we're cutting out. I'm gonna let you guys wrap up any last minute thoughts that you might have about anything, and then make sure you go and check out Godless Engineer immediately following this. Closing out, he will be doing his stream here in just a few minutes. And yeah, cool. Thank you both for coming on, or actually all four of you for coming on. I hate that it didn't. We couldn't come to an agreement here towards the end, but that's okay. It happens. Craig, we'll start with you.
Thanks again for having me on, guys. That was a more pleasant conversation than I've had with a lot of flat earthers. The last thing that I would say to Merl is, don't stop asking questions, but don't just dismiss things because you don't understand them. There are people that have knowledge of these things far better than me. Seek them out and ask them questions, especially about orbital mechanics and stuff, because I think that's a bit of a sticking point from you from what I was getting. And one thing that would definitely help with that is checking out Universe Sandbox 2. Apart from the fact you'll have an absolute blast destroying planets, it will help you understand orbital mechanics. And the same goes to anyone in the flat Earth. Asking questions isn't bad. Just stop dismissing things because you don't understand it, because that's fucking ridiculous.
And Merl.
I've enjoyed being here for the most part. I think one thing that needs to be known and on the record, don't underestimate the flat earthers, because they're coming and they're getting stronger and it's growing daily. And there's valid questions being asked, and we might not understand everything, but we learn, and the knowledge base is growing. Evidence is there. And for you guys just to write off flat earth like it's just a nowhere thing is hugely disrespectful to us. And that's where like some of our pushback now is starting to come in, and with people like Reds out there and that attitude, we're going to push back against that because we don't deserve it. And I saw the way he spoke to a friend of mine, space is fake. And it's just rife on the internet. It's just no need for that. Just
Okay.
like, you're a plumber, dude. Just chill. Who do you think you are? And that's it. And thanks for having me on. I really appreciate that time. I really do.
Excellent. Well, thank you for coming on. Okay. You make sure that you join us tomorrow at 9:30. Rhetoric returns to Flaturday. You can check out the shirt that will be put out there. And
Can
go
I
and
ask who I'm
join
going up against tomorrow.
Flat Earth Disciple.
Oh, don't know who that is. Sweet.
It's
By the way,
EA's
do I
new.
get a closing statement?
No, we have to close because GE has to get to his stream.
Oh, okay.
And
Sorry,
Steve has a picture that he wants to show before we close out. Go to join Godless Engineer stream. Right after we close out, he will be going live, so make sure you check that out, and then join us here tomorrow with Reds, and we'll have a good time. Steve, the picture you wanted to do?
Yeah, Dave's got it. I just want Merle, so you leaves with something for all this that you have a takeaway. Fight the Flat Earth was talking about this earlier, how you can have the same angular size and yet different. The way the continents look are going to be different. So this is the answer to your question. So hopefully there's a takeaway from all this. There you go.
That's a good picture. Okay.
Yeah,
Good night, everybody.